How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another Sideline Talks production, episode 3 of the Scottie Pippen series. I'm really excited to get into this one. We're going to go over really the entire year that Scottie had because I felt this was by far the best year of his young career. So that includes ring number 2 against the Blazers and a little bit of Dream Team at the end. And then we'll look at ring 3 against the Suns in the next episode, which should be dropping in a couple days. So at this point in time, the Bulls were fresh off their first ring against the Lakers, and they were clearly the best team in the NBA. The following season, they had the best record in the NBA at 67-15. They had a top 3 offense and a top 3 defense, and they were the only team in the league that fit that criteria. Scottie's numbers jumped again this year from 18 points to 21, from 6 assists to 7, from 7 rebounds to 8. He led the team in assists for the second year in a row. He was really the point guard for this offense. Even though they had John Paxson and B.J. Armstrong, they were more shooters in Phil's system. Scottie Pippen was really the main facilitator for this offense. He was also second on the team in rebounds, steals, blocks, and points. His 21 point per game average was his career high at the time. At this point in his career, without a doubt, this was his best season yet. He made his second All-Star appearance, his first as a starter. He was All-NBA second team and NBA All-Defensive second team as well. Like I said in the last video, the NBA Finals against the Lakers was really Scottie's introduction to superstardom. This was the year he would become a household name. Before you know it, it was time for the Bulls to defend their title and attempt to go back-to-back in the NBA playoffs. The biggest thing I've noticed about Pippen once playoff time rolls around is that he plays his best basketball in closeout games. In Game 3 of a best-of-3 series against Miami, Pippen and MJ combined for 87 of the 119 points. Pippen had a huge 31 points, 2 blocks, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. MJ had 56 with 2 blocks, 4 steals, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Both of them dominated this game. The Heat were playing great all throughout. Their season was on the line, so obviously they had their best game of the season, played their hearts out, gave it everything they had, but they had no answer for this duo, which is something they had in common with the rest of the NBA.
Pippen with a major league game. Jordan over Brian Shaw, and Michael is now 1 for 4. Shaw and Jordan same height. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Pippen.
So in order to try and save time, we're going to fast forward to Game 7 of the next series against the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks were a very good team. They had a 3-headed monster of Xavier McDaniel, Patrick Ewing, John Starks. They played the Bulls about as tough as you could possibly play them. But once Game 7 rolled around, MJ dropped 42 with 3 blocks, 2 steals, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, which is really just an insane stat line if you really think about it. But of course, Pippen in closeout games always comes through. He had 17, 11 assists, 11 rebounds, he had a triple-double, and he went 7 of 11 from the field. When you have 2 perimeter players this dominant, it's basically impossible to beat them. MJ and Pippen were literally a match made in heaven. Again, to try and save you guys some time, we're going to fast forward to the next series against the Cavs. That's the conference finals. Game 6, closeout game for the Bulls. Pippen and MJ both had 29 points. Pippen had 4 blocks, 4 steals, 5 assists, and 12 rebounds to go along with his 29. And MJ had 2 steals, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds to go along with his 29. Before you know it, it was time to see if the Bulls could repeat as champions against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers were 57-25 this season. They were first in the West. They had a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. They were led by Clyde Drexler, but he had a really good supporting cast as well. He had someone by the name of Terry Porter, who was a two-time All-Star, and Jerome Kersey, who had some massive games in this series. They also had Danny Ainge, who ended up winning them a game this series. Everyone loves to talk about MJ's incredible Game 1, and don't get me wrong, the performance was amazing, but no one talks about how Pippen was a rebound away from a triple-double, and he had a 16-point second half. There's a reason MJ only had to score 4 points in the second half. The Blazers were straight up dominated in Game 1. It seemed as if this was going to be a quick series. But the Blazers were a tough team. They won Game 2 in overtime without Clyde Drexler, who fouled out in the fourth quarter. Danny Ainge had 9 in overtime, and it was enough to get them Game 2 and send it back to Portland. Bulls would win Game 3 in Portland, Blazers would win Game 4, and then in Game 5, Pippen had another near triple-double. He had 24 points, 9 assists, and 11 rebounds. MJ had 46, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds. You knew MJ was capable of giving you 40 on any given night, but anytime Pippen would score above 20 points, they were basically unbeatable. When Pippen scored above 20 points in the 91-92 playoffs, they were 9-1. It's no coincidence that when he would find his groove, they were simply the best team in the world. So now we're moving on to Game 6 of the series back in Chicago, a potential closeout game, and you know how I feel about MJ and Pippen in closeout games, but this was not indicative of that in the first 3 quarters. The Blazers were thoroughly dominating the Bulls. Clyde was playing really well, Jerome Kersey was having a hell of a game, Terry Porter was hitting shots. He was going through a bit of a slump in Games 4 and Game 3, but his shot started to come back in Game 5, and in Game 6 he had a pretty solid game. They had held MJ to a pretty quiet night going into the fourth quarter. It was 79-64 to start the fourth, and Phil Jackson decided to put out Scottie Pippen with the reserves to start the fourth quarter. And let me just say, he single-handedly swung the momentum in the Bulls' direction. By the time MJ checked back in, it was 81-78. They had gone on a 14-2 run with Scottie in the reserves. He led that group. He hit a big-time 3. He bodied Clyde in the post. He was being aggressive. He was looking for his teammates. He was driving towards the basket. He was playing fearless. To me, this was probably one of Scottie's most defining moments in his career. He came up so huge in this game, in this moment when they needed him most. And this is why you have someone like him. This is what you need from a guy like him if you want to win championships. You need someone who can swing the momentum in your direction when everything's going wrong. Not only did he hit big time shots when MJ was on the bench, but once he checked back in, he was still as effective. He hit a big time 3 and a go ahead basket. I believe this was the first time the game was tied since the first quarter. And at that point, the momentum was already so much in the Bulls' favor, you could feel the game was really over. And then you'll see MJ here really put an exclamation point on the whole game and end it right here. And now the Bulls could finally say that they were back-to-back champions. Coming off the best season of his life, Scottie Pippen was invited to be a part of the Dream Team in the 1992 Olympics, and he even started most games for them. Obviously, that's a huge honor because it says that you're one of the top 7 to 10 basketball players in the world. And Pippen was only getting better and better as every year went on. This was without a doubt the best year of Scottie's young career. But with a three-peat in the distance and a possible Michael Jordan retirement looming, the Bulls were going to need Pippen to get even better. Soon the NBA was going to find out just exactly who Scottie Pippen was without Michael Jordan. So for the sake of keeping this episode short, I think we're going to cut it off here. I'll make another episode this week in the coming days on the Suns title, and then on the weekend on life without Michael Jordan. As always, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. Follow me on Instagram at Sideline Talks. I really hate doing that, but it's what I have to do. Everyone keeps telling me that I have to make sure I say like and subscribe at the end of everything. But yeah, just make sure you guys let me know what you think. DM me on Instagram if you have any special requests, anything you want to know. I'm all ears. I'm always here. I'm always available. This is what I love doing, and thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to really pursue what I love. All the love and support I receive really never goes unnoticed. I may not say it, but I am very appreciative of you guys, and I know that we're just getting started, so I'll save all that for later. I hope you guys have a good day, good week. I'll see you guys next time.